In tonight's Squeeze Play, thousands of veterans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan now fighting to get their old jobs back. There is a law that says employers must give vets back their jobs when their service is over, but in more than 16,000 cases, that's not happening, and now vets are starting to sue. Joining us tonight from Washington, Todd Bowers, himself a Marine veteran with 2 tours in Iraq. He's still with the Marine Corps. He's Director of Government Affairs for Iraq and Afghanistan Vets of America. Todd, great to see you. And I should mention, full disclosure, totally by coincidence, my stepson actually fought with you in the same unit in Iraq, which is we just found out tonight, which is an amazing coincidence. But tell us about the cases of some of those vets who come back home after having served their country with high honors and don't get the jobs that they deserve.
Well, in 1994, they established laws, the USERRA rights for veterans when they return from combat, to ensure that they receive their jobs, they get the benefits that they've had while they were gone, and they get basically the same benefits that they would receive if they hadn't been deployed. What we're finding now, though, is that USERRA has never really been tried in the time of combat, and we're finding a lot of loopholes that are coming up slowly but surely. We're finding issues regarding binding arbitration. We're finding issues where companies have gone out of business. And so we're just getting a full grasp of what sort of problems are arising.
And
now.
We should mention, not all of the problems are an employer stiffing a vet intentionally. Some of them are through no fault of their own, just circumstances, like they go out of business.
Exactly. Or a company buys another company. Is it still their right to regain employment for this veteran? You know, there's a lot of questions that are being raised right now.
And there are also some legitimate provisos. For example, you have to have served no longer, I think, than 5 years, correct? It has to be within a relatively shorter period of time than 5 years in order to get your job back.
Yes, it is. It's a 5-year cap.
All right, but with all of those provisos in there, tell us some of the worst case scenarios. You don't have to name names, but tell us what happens to some deserving vets.
Some deserving vets come back only to find out that the company they were once employed with is completely out of business. So they're lost. They don't know where to turn to. We're also finding situations where people are coming back and finding out that a binding arbitration agreement that they've signed 8 years earlier is not allowing them to keep their job. The companies are then allowed to let them go because they say that the deployments are too difficult to manage. This is not correct, and this is something that we at IAVA are addressing with our upcoming legislative agenda. We're finding fixes, and we're going to be looking for members of Congress to really champion a lot of these issues home and fix these loopholes in USERRA.
Now, Todd, I also heard we had a vet on here. He was a veteran of our Iraq campaign, and essentially he went back to the employer, which was a television channel. I won't mention which one, but the television channel sort of said they'd outsourced his job. That is, his job didn't exist anymore. They gave him a position that was so many rungs below what he was qualified to take that he felt demeaned, and eventually he quit. Does that happen?
It does happen, and unfortunately the best advice I can give to these individuals is to contact the Department of Labor, who will be the best resource for them to look at these USERRA violations. Something else that we at IAVA are calling for is that if people are violating these USERRA laws that are in place, we would like to see action taken against them. Right now, if a company violates USERRA, there's punitive damages. I'd like to see fines. I'd like to see jail times, because treating our veterans this way is just unjust.
It's despicable. And have you seen people get completely snubbed by their old employers? The old employers have a job, but they don't give it to the deserving vets. And if so, what can you do to go after those employers?
Well, that's the one thing that we have seen a tremendous amount of. With the multiple deployments that Iraq and Afghanistan veterans continue to face, employers are seeing this as a continuing headache. Just because they go to Iraq once doesn't mean they're necessarily not going to go back a second time. So employers are really sort of pushing veterans to the side and allowing other people to fill in those positions. And when they come back, employers should be letting those people go and letting the veterans come back to where they once were.
Now, Todd, you did a couple of tours in Iraq. You're back with the Marine Corps now, but have you tried civilian life, or have you stayed in the Marine Corps ever since you joined up?
I've stayed in the Marine Corps Reserves, and I gave civilian life a shot, and I'll tell you what, it's a difficult transition, but the one thing that is important to notice is that Iraq and Afghanistan veterans, when they come back, hiring a veteran is only going to benefit your company. I can guarantee you they're always going to be on time, they're going to conduct themselves in a professional manner, and they'll probably have the sharpest haircut and shave in the entire establishment in all reality.
Absolutely, particularly if they're Marine. Of course, we shouldn't discriminate here, but they also have, there's nothing like leadership skills that are gained in combat, right?
Exactly. What you learn on the field is something that you can carry into the private industry and really allow companies to soar. So by not treating veterans equally or giving away their jobs while they're deployed, you're doing harm to your company. If you look out for these veterans, look at the laws that protect them and enforce those laws within your institution, you're going to be in good shape.
Well, I'm not a big fan of Saudi Arabia and this whipping thing, but I tell you, if I saw anybody, any employer who stiffed a vet who came back from Iraq or Afghanistan, I'd be for public flogging. I guess it's impossible to get on our rule book, but you're doing the next best thing. Great to see you, Todd Bowers, and it's Iraq and Afghanistan Vets in America. Is that correct?
The Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America, yes, and I invite everybody to go to our website, www.iava.org, and see what we can do for you.
All right, Todd, you're doing great work, man. Thanks very much. Semper Fi to you.
Hey, Semper Fi. Thank you, David.
All right, coming up on deck, we've got a man who can combine